Our first speaker in the second half is Angie Hoschouer. She's been employed at Woodland Cemetery for 4 years. She was a volunteer for 7 years before that. And before that, had been a long-time visitor and has quite a long history with Woodland because her great-great-great-grandparents were buried there in 1858 and 1867. Angie, come on up.
Hold the mic and do cards and put glasses on. Wait a minute, don't start my program yet. You wear these too. Did I do it? Oh, that wasn't me, was it? Did what? I can't, this is my second slide. Okay. Welcome to Woodland. Founded in 1841. We're celebrating 176 years this year, so thank you for your patronage, I guess. I'm the death part of this. Woodland is the keeper of Dayton's history, and we are proud to have 109,000 souls resting peacefully with us, and I have just a few to show you tonight. Irma Bombeck was born and raised in Bellbrook, Ohio. She aspired to be a writer at an early age. Her first newspaper interview was with Shirley Temple, and the girls were both 16 years old. She became an internationally known author and humorist. I took this photo. I think Irma was with me that day. Yeah. Daniel Beckel worked on the construction of the B&O Railroad and later on the St. Mary's Reservoir. He was president of the first gas company in Dayton, the Dayton Gas, Light, and Coke Company. The beehive was often used as a symbol by the Independent Order of Odd Fellows. It symbolizes human industry, faith, and education. Caroline Louise Dudley married Chicago millionaire lawyer Mr. Leslie Carter. In 1887, she filed for divorce on the grounds of abuse, causing a scandal. But even more scandalous was the fact that she became an actress and took the stage name Mrs. Leslie Carter, thus exacting her revenge on her ex-husband's name in the marquee lights. Oh my goodness, Alan Cullen was the very first person died, buried at Woodland Cemetery. July 11th, 1843, next year will be the 175th anniversary of the first person buried at Woodland Cemetery. Oh my goodness, Paul Lawrence Dunbar was the son of slaves. He died when his father died when Paul was just 12 years old. His mother instilled the importance of education in him, and he became one of the best-known African-American writers of his time. He has a willow tree, which is a symbol for mourning, and the laurel wreath, which is a symbol for victory over death. Beside his marker is his sister's marker for Elizabeth, who died of malnutrition at the age of 3 in 1876. She is buried in our city lot, which was for the poor people at the time. So her marker is known as a cenotaph, which means it's a marker placed someplace else other than where the person is buried. Nicholas All and Julia All were the parents of John All, whose wife Marie established Allwood Audubon Center in Butler Township. Here is the tree. It symbolizes a long life because it's a long trunk. We also have the books, and an open book means an open life. Colonel Deeds was president and general manager of NCR. It was co-founder of Dalco, helped establish the Miami Conservancy District. He gifted the Engineers Club to the city of Dayton. He founded the Carillon Park in 1940. And there are only 5 people entombed in this big mausoleum. James Riddy was the inventor of the original cash register called the Incorruptible Bartender. It was to deter his staff from stealing from him at the bar he owned called the Pony House Saloon. In 1884, he sold the patent to the cash register for $6,000 to John H. Patterson, and that became the NCR National Cash Register. Marjorie Jones has a unique headstone that features hieroglyphs. It translates, "Behold, I am with Osiris, and I proclaim what he announceth among the mighty ones. He speaketh to me the words of men. I listen and I repeat them to you." Asa McMillan was a successful woolen machinery manufacturer in the 1840s. His monument features a 6-foot-tall angel imported from Carrara, Italy. In her hand, she holds a rag, and in front of her is the clean slate. The symbolism suggests that in death, we are all equal, and we start with a clean slate. Johnny Morehouse drowned in the Miami-Erie Canal in 1860. It was said that the dog pulled him out of the canal, but Johnny had already died. Legend says that the dog would sit by his graveside every day and came to the cemetery. We see that the dog is protecting his master while he forever sleeps in peaceful slumber. Gustav Witteke was an inventor and a manufacturer. His 1890s business is still around and is known as Elliott Tool Technologies. His monument was made in Vermont to include his exact height and build, including his pudgy tummy. His suit is carved in perfect detail, including the buttons, the lapels, and wrinkles in his slack. Valentine Winters was the founder of Winters Bank, known as Chase Bank today. He helped the freed slave Jordan Anderson write a letter back to his master after his master said, "Hey, why don't you come back and work for me?" No. Okay, so the letter became a national sensation, and Valentine is the great-great-grandfather of comedian Jonathan Winters. In 1860, when the Smith family were traveling across the Atlantic and coming to America, they encountered a storm. The mother said, "Dear God, please preserve us." He did, so she changed the name of her newborn son, John, to the name Preserved, and the family was blessed with each generation having a band named Preserved. Cheez-Its! Oh my gosh, Cheez-Its were invented in Dayton! Cash registers, car starters, powered flight, Cheez-Its! Yes, Joseph W. Green was born in Dayton, the Green and Green Cracker Company, and you know what makes them orange and taste funky? Paprika. All right. There we have the Wright Brothers bench. There were 9 of these benches in the city of Dayton. This is the famous photo by John T. Daniels. The benches are representative of this bench and down in Kitty Hawk, and I'm going to breathe. Oh, no. Woodland Cemetery Chapel was built in 1887. It houses beautiful Tiffany windows. The chapel administration building and the gates are all on the National Register of Historic Places. The cemetery sits on 105 acres listed on the National Historic District with the Department of Interior. Okay, and lastly, in the chapel in 1904, Louis Comfort Tiffany was commissioned to redecorate the interior of the chapel to include the windows, the floors, and the walls. One of the Tiffany windows was stolen and ended up in a house in the Oregon District. True story. Then in 2006, the window was returned and our collection is complete. Thank you.